Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Tess Atkins, star of the Hallmark mystery movie, sorry, Reality Bites, a Hannah Swenson Mystery. Join us as we delve into Tess' insights into her character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Tess.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, can you tell us a little bit about your character in Reality Bites, a Hannah Swenson Mystery?
Yeah, absolutely. So I play Michelle Swenson, the younger sister of Hannah. She's a little bit sarcastic. She's kind of the black sheep of the family. She's a photographer, so she's got this cool like city edge. But she's moved back to like Eden now and bought her first house, and she's settling in with the family. So she kind of brings this like really fun, edgy dynamic to the Swensons. Yeah, that's Michelle.
Great. And what initially attracted you to your role in this series of movies of the Hannah Swenson's mystery?
Well, originally when I was asked to read, I saw the scripts and everything, and what really drew me to the project was the comedy in it. Getting to work with Ali and Barbara is amazing. They're both like top of their game, and they're so funny, and their dynamic is so great. So having a third character that was written in that is a little bit different and got to play in all of these kind of different dynamics was very fun. And yeah, I think really like the comedy in it was a bit of a challenge and really what drew me to it in the first place.
Amazing. And what do you think makes this movie and this series of movies so special and captivating for the audience?
I always think it's the people that bring people back. Like I think that this group of actors and the crew that we have is so special, and that's what makes the movie so special. Allie especially is just like such a talent. She writes a lot of the projects. She's writes a lot of the scripts now. She's the executive producer and of course the star. And she's just so fun to watch. Like I love watching them. So that's what brings me back is like seeing her kind of bumble through life and her energy and it's just so endearing to me. So I think yeah, what makes this one special, particularly we have Gabe Hogan back as Norman, which he's not always in every single one anymore. So that was really special getting to see him and his dynamic with Allie with Hannah is so great. Yeah, so this one's even funnier. I feel like they just get funnier and funnier, which is so fun. Um, and then also watching, Hannah fall in love even more with Chad and sort of that relationship blossom is really great. So yeah, I think the audience keeps coming back for the relationships and the characters. And of course the mysteries are great. And I did not know what was going to happen until I got to the last page of the script. I was like, oh my gosh, that was the murderer. I was surprised.
Great. So you mentioned a little bit now, but what was it like working with the rest of the cast and crew on set?
Oh, it's always, yeah, such a pleasure. That's really why we do it. I think like we all just love to hang out. The crew is great. Actually one of the parts that I love so much about it too is like our crew is very similar each movie to the next. So we get to go back and it's the same camera department and the same cinematographer, same director this time also. And so yeah, getting to see everyone is so fun. And then working with the actors on set, everyone is so prepared. Like everyone comes, it's really fast paced. We do not have a lot of time to do multiple takes. You have to come, you have to be ready. And then everyone buys into that. So then you get to play. So then when you're on set, everyone's ready. And we're like, oh, maybe we want to say it a little bit differently, or maybe we want to add a little bit of like ad lib. We're always trying to beat each other to the last line. So we always add buttons. And then, especially in the Swenson family, like me and Allie, Barbara, Lisa, we're always trying to get the last word. And sometimes it goes on for like 5 minutes. They just let us keep trying to add something and add something and add something. So by the end of it, we're usually like in tears, laughing. It's just really fun.
That's amazing. So, What can you tell about your character journey in this chapter?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't have to tease anymore. The movie has, I think, came out last night in the States. It hasn't come out yet for us in Canada, so I have not had the pleasure of seeing the full segment,
Yeah,
but obviously I know what happens. Yeah, so I think Michelle, we see a little bit of more of her dynamic with Lonnie, which is really fun. That's been such a pleasure working with Dalen, who plays Lonnie. He's such a lovely human and a great actor. So that's been really fun to develop the relationship between our two characters. We see them on a date. And he sort of mixes a little bit more in with the Swenson family and at a family dinner. So yeah, that's great. I'm excited to sort of like have the audience fall a little bit more in love with them.
amazing. The last question about this movie. What was your favorite scene or moment while filming it?
My favorite scene was this is sort of also a Lonnie moment. We had a date at the Chameleon restaurant, which is sort of like our local haunt. And one of my initial favorite thing about the scene is that I was wearing the most amazing outfit. We have the most amazing costumer on set, and her team just does such an amazing job with all of my outfits. And so, yeah, so I was wearing this like beautiful jumper, and I came down the stairs and all the crew were like, "Woo, she looks so nice." It was amazing. And then yeah, we have this little table in the window, and Hannah runs up and she bangs on the glass from the outside, and it's just such a funny scene, and she's so funny in it. And like we riffed, and we got to add in a lot of comedic lines, and we got to see the dynamic a lot between Michelle and Hannah. And yeah, I think that scene is just so charming, and we were all, again, just by the end of it, we're in tears laughing. It was just fun. So I'm really excited to see that one in full. I saw a little bit of it in post production, but I'm excited to see that one in full, and that was for sure the most memorable scene for me.
Great. So, change of subject. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the TV series The Flash?
Oh, yeah, The Flash. That's a bit of a throwback. I loved working on that show. I had a tiny little character, but I got to do, I think, like 5 episodes, which is amazing. And yeah, it kind of became like a little bit of a comedic foil that I just like kept coming back as the barista in The Flash. And again, that was really cool because you see the crew every time, and it's the same crew, and you kind of fall in love with everyone. And so that was really special. I got to work again with Tom Cavanaugh, who is a mentor of mine. I worked with him when I was 17 on a movie, and he's just been such a mentor of mine for so long, and I look up to him. And so he was on set, obviously as like one of the leads of that show. So that was really cool to get to work with him again. And I always kind of made a joke. I'm like, did you tell the writers to keep bringing me back? And maybe he did. I don't know. But yeah, that was really cool. On my last scene that I did with them, we were filming like 2 days before Christmas, like December 23rd. And the scene was that I was being chased by a T-Rex. And so I just remember we're filming here in Vancouver, Canada. It was like pouring rain, like rivers of water. We're filming downtown Vancouver in the middle of the night because it needed to be dark. And it was just me. I was the only actor on set because the whole scene was just me being chased by a T-Rex.
Yeah.
And of course, they don't have a T-Rex in person because, well, they don't exist anymore. So they have a props guy, or like a VisFX guy, who's holding a stick, like a really long stick with a tennis ball on the top. And he's chasing you with that. And that's sort of their marker of how they're going to build it. And so he's chasing you with this thing, and I'm running, like I'm trying to pretending to be afraid of the tennis ball. And he's roaring. He's like roaring like a T-Rex. And it was so crazy. And we're all soaking wet because it's pouring rain. And there's this guy holding the tennis ball. And I just remember thinking, like, this is the weirdest job ever. It's like so fun, but so weird. And I didn't even have any other actors on set to like commiserate with, like, what a weird thing we're doing here today. But no, working on The Flash was such a pleasure. And yeah, the crew and the cast were so lovely and so welcoming.
That's amazing. So, another project of yours. What can you tease about your upcoming movie, Playdate?
Oh, so we just finished, well, not, it feels like we just finished filming it because it was so fun. It was actually almost a year ago. We filmed in April. Um, is that right? I think that's right. We filmed in April. That's what I'm sticking with. It was so cool. Working with Alan and Kevin on set was like a dream. They're such professionals, and also just the star quality. Like they're both. I grew up watching both of them. Alan most recently in Reacher. My whole family watched it. My dad found out I was doing a movie with him. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you're doing a movie with Alan!" And then of course, like Kevin too. Everybody I've met was like, "You're doing a movie with Kevin James." So they were just so lovely, like exactly how you want to imagine they would be in person is how they are. So they were lovely, so welcoming. I was on set with them just for a couple of days, but I saw the scene recently in post-production and it is so funny. So I'm really excited for everyone to see that. I'm excited to see the movie. It's the script is hilarious. They're both hilarious, so I'm sure they've brought it to life in an incredible way. But yeah, it's really fun. It's really fast paced. It's action. Like it's the perfect popcorn movie. Like people are gonna love seeing it. I don't know if it'll be in theaters or if it'll be straight to, I don't know anything.
Okay,
But wherever it is, like people are gonna love watching it. I think it's gonna be a hit.
great. Change of subject again. This is a question I ask to all the artists I have the pleasure to talk with. So, what have been some of the most memorable projects you have worked on throughout your career, and why for you?
Oh my goodness, that's a big question.
Yeah,
Um, Most memorable projects. I've been doing this since I was a kid. So for different like there's memorable projects for different reasons. I think like one of the big ones for me was I was 17 and I got to do my first like I was like the lead of the show, and it was with Tom Cavanaugh, who I worked with later on The Flash.
yeah,
And it was the first time that I was supposed to be sort of like, yeah, I was like this, I was in almost every scene. So it was a big responsibility. And I had such an amazing team of actors that were so experienced that really taught me how to be that role. So I feel so privileged that I got to have such a successful in successful in that sense, like entry into that responsibility. And Tom really walked me through it. So same with Boris Kodjoe, like they just were so great and such great mentors. Yeah, so that was really memorable for that reason. Just like the amount of preparation that went in, the character journey, it was so unique and just for the first time. That movie was for Lifetime. It was called Killer Among Us. And then one that I always find, like I always fall back on, was one of the first sort of big TV ones that I did. I did Supernatural with Jared and Jensen, and that was really memorable for different reasons. Like I had a lot of days on set with them, which was really cool. I had a really cool look. I had tattoos all over my body, so every single day we spent hours putting them on in the makeup trailer, and I had black hair and I had blue extensions in it. So the sort of the setup every day in preparation was huge, and I didn't feel like I felt like I was in disguise a little bit, which was cool to play with. Um, and then yeah, we had like a little bit of just like weird behind the scenes stuff that um, happened on set, which I won't get into, but resulted in me getting to know Jared and Jensen really, really well. And like Jared Padalecki, I mean, I grew up watching him on Gilmore Girls, so huge fan. I was trying not to fangirl. I was like, here he is. But the result of this sort of like drama was that I got to work with him a lot directly, and he made such an amazing impression of like he really had my back, and he wanted to make sure that I did my best work, and he was so supportive of that. And that's something that like I'll never forget if I'm ever in the position where it's my show and I have to protect some of the actors. Like I look at that as the shining example. Yeah, working with them both is just like okay, this is how you do it. Got it. Yeah, like, oh, I see. This is the responsibility. And they're just, yeah, they're both it's not a surprise that they've had such success. They're both lovely humans. So that Supernatural was very memorable for me too.
Amazing. Johnson is now a guest star in the TV show Tracker.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah, he
know?
is.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw that. I mean, so Tracker Films here in Vancouver. I've auditioned for Tracker like a number of times, and funnily enough, I just auditioned for it recently, and it came up that he was guest starring in it, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool to see him again. I joked that he probably just loves Vancouver so much from spending so much time here on Supernatural that he was like, yeah, I'll go and do Tracker. That sounds great. I get to go to Vancouver, see all my friends.
yeah. That's amazing. So, the last question. Can you tease something about your next projects?
Well, it's getting busier in Vancouver right now. We've kind of had a bit of a slow start of the year. So lots of auditions, lots of fun things. I'm doing one for tomorrow for something I cannot say anything about, but I would love to work on. It's a movie, so I'm trying to do some more feature films. That's sort of a goal of mine this year, and I would love to do more comedy. So those are goals of mine. I can't say anything about Hannah Swenson. I would love to come back and do more of it. And it seems like a little bit of a cliffhanger that we left things on. So I feel like there could be more.
Yeah,
But I have to leave that to Allie and the team at Hallmark to announce.
okay. Great. Amazing. So, this is it. Make sure
Oh, it was so fun to talk to you.
for me to, and all of you, make sure to go to the last chapter of Hannah Swenson's Mystery, Reality Bites on Hallmark Plus, for those who are in the USA. Yeah. And thank you to join us today, Tess.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for watching. Bye.